Everybody knows you did the right thing on that bridge. Even the president knows. You gotta learn how to get back into the real world.
Mr. President, we're ready for you.
Our guests have arrived.
I'd like to welcome you to the White House, sir. Sir, there's been an intrusion. Let's go, move.
Hey guys, Lucas here again for another movie review. Today it is for the new White House actioner Olympus Has Fallen, starring Gerard Butler, Morgan Freeman, Aaron Eckhart, and Angela Bassett. This is a very strange year, 2013 for movies, because there's going to be two movies coming out this year with literally the same exact premise, very similar to, I believe, 2011, where they had No Strings Attached and Friends with Benefits, which was basically the same premise and same movie. And the other movie is called White House Down. It hasn't had a trailer yet, there's really no buzz on it, but it has the same exact story as Olympus Has Fallen, which is the White House gets taken over by terrorists, and the terrorists in this movie happen to be North Koreans, because that's who America is pissed at the moment for some reason. And they take the president hostage, played by Aaron Eckhart, to get some codes out of him. And then Morgan Freeman, who plays the Speaker of the House, gets put as the president in second command, while you have Gerard Butler, who is a former Secret Service agent, who manages to get inside the White House. And basically it's Air Force One mixed with Die Hard, because Gerard Butler's alone in the White House trying to pick off each terrorist and save the president. Gerard Butler's been in a countless amount of really bad movies or really bad romantic comedies lately, so when I saw this I was very happy to see him kind of return to his niche of action movies. And I gotta say, this is his best role since 300, and probably his best movie too. And actually, even though this movie has such a good supporting cast, they are really just supporting, because they don't really have much to do. Morgan Freeman, as much as I love him, he's fine in the movie obviously, but I wish they gave him more to do. And even Aaron Eckhart as the president, who's very good, is just locked in a room. And this movie, kind of like the first Die Hard, mainly is carried by the main actor, and Gerard Butler is so good in this movie and so believable as this Secret Service Special Forces badass that he really just carries the whole movie on his shoulders, and it was very believable, and you actually rooted for him a lot. He was badass, he had really good hand-to-hand combat, he had great one-liners, I'll get to that later, and overall he was like John McClane if he was more badass and you didn't care about him as much, but he was still a really good hero. And the villain too, just like the original Die Hard, is very good. Not up to the status as, you know, Alan Rickman, but I don't know the actor's name. It's an Asian actor. I know in the movie his name is Kang, but for the most part I felt that he was a very intimidating villain, very fun to watch, even though I could tell that sometimes his mouth wasn't really moving with the words he was saying, so I'm guessing they had to overdub some of his lines, because I'm guessing a Korean actor or Asian, some kind of Asian actor, so he might have not known English that well, but for the most part it didn't bother me, and I thought he was very intimidating. And I really like this movie's just kind of straight brutality and in-your-face type of bloody action. I thought this movie could have been, from the previews I thought it was just going to be kind of like a PG-13 movie, but this is definitely a hard R, not only for language, a lot of language, but for just straight up bloody and hardcore violence. There's some really brutal scenes, there's a lot of good blood shots, there's a couple of stabs and a couple of gunshots that really effective, and the movie really doesn't hold any bars, and it made you take the movie a lot more seriously. While this movie's script is obviously not perfect, and it definitely has a lot of holes and a lot of flaws, I felt that the dialogue and one-liners they gave for Gerard Butler in this movie were great. Whenever he has to taunt someone or intimidate something or someone, I thought that for the most part they were pretty damn good, and most of the theater was laughing. The movie has some really major flaws though that I think prevented it from being awesome. For the most part I really enjoyed it, but the biggest problem with this movie is the whole first 25, 30 minutes. One, the CG in this movie is awful. I thought I was watching like Jaws 3D at some points, because they have these, when the White House, you've seen it in the trailer, when the White House is first being sieged, they have these, you know, helicopters with machine guns on them. But I swear to God, the planes look like they were some kind of like third graders computer graphics game. I felt like I was playing like Tetris in the sky. They don't look like they're even in a real background. It's really green screen, and it doesn't help that the CGI on the planes isn't good, and it just looked like something out of like a Nintendo game. I was like, what was the budget on this? And again, with the siege, while there are some really awesome scenes during that whole takeover of the White House, you really gotta shut your brain off for that scene and really this whole movie, because there's no way that this movie really makes American special forces and that kind of the people in charge of the White House look really incompetent, because they pretty much get taken out like without a fight, really. I mean, they shoot like one bullet and then they get just mowed down, which I don't know if that would happen or not, but just in this movie they take over the White House so quickly, and you can't really just think about it too much, otherwise your head will explode. For a movie that's so like pro-America, I thought they kind of made America, at least their special forces, kind of look like pussies. I do believe the film is like a minute or two, just under 2 hours, and definitely near the end it definitely starts to feel a little bit long, and I think if they cut this movie by 10, maybe even 15 minutes, it would have been perfect length, because for a movie that has this silly of a premise and just a straight up action movie, I don't think it really needs to be 2 hours long, and even in the beginning you're just kind of waiting for the White House to get sieged. Considering the year 2013 has been, it's just been nice to have a good satisfying action movie, or just a satisfying movie in general. It was definitely a lot better than I expected. It doesn't really pick up, unfortunately, until Gerard Butler is in the White House by himself. But from there it gets pretty fun, and it's pretty brutal, and I was surprisingly had a very good time. It entertained me all the way through. So I'm going to give Olympus Has Fallen a very enthusiastic 3.5 star out of 5 rating. Quick update, I'm going to be in Florida. I'm going to leave tomorrow, so I will still be doing videos there. I'll still be seeing movies there. I'm just going to be in a different location. But if you have seen this movie, I want to know what you guys thought. Were you pleasantly surprised? Were you surprised at how violent it was? Was that a nice surprise? And do you think that the supporting cast could have had a little bit more to do? But if I did like this movie, and it was quite the pleasant surprise. So I'll see you guys later, and if you like this review, please subscribe.
With all due respect, I'm the best hope you've got.
Abort! Abort! We're talking about the safety of the President of the United States.
We're talking about a hell of a lot more than that, sir.
Just open the gates of hell.
The United States of America doesn't negotiate with terrorists.
Who said anything about negotiating?